Hello, welcome back to Disquiet Time. Anne and Kelly here, and this month we have our special guest Michael with us. He's going to be covering actually a couple of different topics over a couple different months for us. Michael, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, hi, I am Michael of Design Magicians, a collaborative group of graphic designers made up of my talented partners, me, myself, and I. You can find our social media at Design Magicians on Twitter, and the link to our lovely portfolio in the description below. On today's
if
episode...
I may add on that, also you can see his work on my website and on
my website.
Yes,
we'll
yes.
link that.
Yes. Spread the love. So, on today's episode, we are going to be talking about Mothman.
Mothman!
A classic.
I'm really excited. I know very, very, very little about Mothman, and I purposely didn't look anything up. I mean, other than, like he's been seen, and some people think he might, be like a warning of bad things to come type thing, or maybe does them himself, and that's really all I know.
Yes. A friend and I went through a Mothman phase as teenagers, and we just
typical teenager stuff.
Exactly, yeah, as all teenagers do. So, do you have any experience with Mothman, Anne? Like any...
I mean, I've seen, the movie Mothman. Everybody's seen that, I think, and I've heard there's a couple podcasts that talk about Mothman, but I did not go back and listen to anything again. There are a couple of things that I do know that I find very amusing, some reactions people have had to him, but we will worry about that when we get there and see if they're research.
Oh yeah, there's some crazy crap out there that you read about.
There is. There's some people who may never live down their reactions to Mothman, and I'm here for it.
And it only gets more bizarre the more time passes and people are interviewed over passes of time, and it's like it goes from, oh, we saw Mothman and he chased us in our car, to, oh, we saw a humongous UFO that covered the sky. So the range...
Wow.
The range is great on what has come out of the Mothman legend. Now, Mothman is very interesting in a way that I think is very telling of what happened in this small little town in West Virginia. And
always West Virginia.
Yes, it's the town is called Point Pleasant. I believe it was 1966 when the first sighting of Mothman occurred. Yep, November 1966.
That long ago.
Yeah. Supposedly two couples were driving in a vehicle along Route 62 in West Virginia. Something of note, nearby that route is a old TNT factory from World War II.
Ooh.
It has been... During that time period, people were worried about it because it was having environmental impacts.
I imagine.
Yeah.
Yeah, roughly 30-year-old factory full of explosives and chemicals.
Exactly. Yeah, great for great for the environment.
Fantastic.
So, Steve and Mary Mallett and Linda Scarberry and Roger Scarberry were driving along Route 62 when Steve sees something moving outside through the car window. He identified a pair of red eyes giving chase. It flew at an incredible speed. The car picked up speed, hitting about 100 miles per hour, and the creature kept up with them. So Mothman can go 100 miles per hour.
Very fast.
I mean, your average moth, I don't think goes anywhere near that fast. Though when they're coming at your face in the middle of the night, it seems that fast.
Right.
Yes,
well, it'd be when you scale them up. Maybe they would go that fast. I don't know the biology of scaling a moth up from a few millimeters to however many feet.
Right. I mean, if you've ever got a moth to the face because you forgot to turn off your porch light, I mean...
Right. They do come quick. So, okay. So, still legit for moth.
as far as you can go. I mean, so apparently it chased them for quite a while, and they pulled off the interstate and went to some like farmland where it landed.
You want to go to a more deserted place,
right?
Chased by a giant insect.
Right. Talk about the most white people choice
horror
movie.
Yes.
Yeah.
These people would go down in the basement.
No.
Yes. Oh, look. A very secluded dirt road.
In Virginia. West Virginia. So now, had they actually seen it, identified it as like a giant moth-like creature, or still just the red eyes that traveled as fast as they did?
So, I believe they described it as... Let me see. I have some notes here. They described it as a large, humanoid, red-eyed creature with wings.
Okay.
They saw it land in front of the car at
what?
some point. While they were out in the country, it landed like in front of it, and it moved sort of weird. They described it as sort of being like disbalanced. Yeah. So, they sped out and it chased them for a bit, and then it left them alone. They went to their local newspaper, the Point Pleasant Register, and on November 16th, 1966, the headline, "Couples See Man-Sized Bird, Creature, Something," hit the stands.
Oh my.
Yeah. And others came forward basically saying, hey, we've also seen this creature. In particular, 2 grave diggers came forward saying, hey, we were, out doing our job, and above us in the trees, we saw some strange creature jumping, or flying, as they describe it, between the trees.
At night or during the day?
Why were they digging at night? I don't think grave digger is the right term.
Listen.
I'm thinking grave robber, but okay. I mean,
I think they are working within the medical community, but not legally.
I don't know what they were doing out there at night, but...
I'm just saying that already makes them suspect.
I mean, your profession's already creepy as heck.
I wasn't aware they did it at night. So
that story is getting great.
I know, it didn't get much better.
Well, I mean, it only gets more bizarre because you have the sudden explosion over a period of time of sightings. People were seeing red eyes out in, outside their house or around the neighborhood. They're seeing a strange creature that's flying around. It slowly gets described more as having like leathery bat-like wings. Yeah, some people describe it as having no head, or no neck, I mean. It has no neck. So it's just kind of like this lump with red eyes on top of a humanoid body.
Yikes. Terrifying, for sure.
Yeah. So what caused the people of Point Pleasant to suddenly, delve into this group?
Start all having a mass hallucination?
Yes,
Please
exactly.
tell me it's TNT. Please tell me it's TNT.
Honestly, would be awesome. I wish I had an answer. I don't know. I mean, it was around the time that UFOs were very big in the U.S. and there was that craze.
Yeah.
Right? So...
Yes, there was, and that actually, it does tie into another monster in the same state, but we'll talk about that later.
Oh, what is it?
The Flatwoods Monster.
Ah.
It was a very similar
time period. Later, because I didn't think of it till you started talking, and I was like, wait a minute, it's only 2 hours away. And UFOs and black monsters with no neck and red eyes in 1952 were a big thing in Flatwood, which is 2 hours to the east.
So this was already within the public imagination.
Yes, the public psyche in West Virginia already had a large monster with red eye.
I see. I did not know about that. That's fascinating.
Well, I did not make the connection because for some reason I always think that this happens in Ohio.
Yeah, I thought it was further
and when
northeast.
you said West Virginia, I went, wait a minute.
Well, funnily enough, one of the things I'll get to is the fact that Mothman has since booked a vacation, has flown all over the Earth. Yes.
He's busy.
Apparently. So basically, from 66 to 67, there were all these crazy sightings. People swore they saw Mothman. I think somebody's dog supposedly got picked up by Mothman.
Yes, I've heard that one.
Yeah.
I had not heard that.
Yeah, so people are like, so does Mothman eat dogs exclusively, or...
Apparently it eats cars.
Apparently. So, in 67, something very tragic happened, which was the Silver Bridge collapse. And on that day, there was a traffic jam on the bridge, and the bridge was very old and was not designed to hold cars of that weight.
Oh no.
And it collapsed. Now, 46 people.
Time?
I believe so, yes. Yes, around Christmas time.
I have a memory of hearing somebody saying that they can just see all the packages and stuff floating in the water because people already have wrapped gifts in cars.
Ew.
Yep, I remember that vaguely as well.
Oh, so this is a nasty, nasty tragedy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You said 46 people?
Yeah, 46 people died.
That's a lot.
Yeah, no, it was very tragic. What happened afterwards is very interesting. So for a few days afterward, you had people coming forward as witnesses basically saying, hey, I saw Mothman, or a bat-like object, quote-unquote, hovering or standing on the bridge a few days before the collapse. And this is sort of... Yeah, this is where the whole Harbinger of Doom thing comes from.
Right.
Okay.
But something else very fascinating also happens. People just stop reporting Mothman sightings after that tragedy.
They just disappeared from Point Pleasant.
Well, he was hanging out waiting to get his passport from the post office, and now he's gone. It takes a while.
It does take a while.
It's a slow process.
It is.
Yeah. Yeah. So the bridge collapsed due to a crack in I-bar number 330, and it was just a chain reaction because it wasn't built in a way to support anything. Like even if there was a collapse on one side, the other side went down. And
it was not a good design to begin with.
Exactly. So, a lot of people are conflating, like, does Mothman warn people of doom, or does he bring doom?
Right. Did he crack the I-beam?
That's the thing. Yeah. Is he the bad guy or is he the good guy?
That's why he was chasing the car. He was testing his strength against steel.
I mean, but here's the thing. If he was trying to create havoc and destruction, why didn't he go for that old TNT plant and do something there instead of the bridge?
So,
surely even a giant bug would know that's bad.
So, speaking of the TNT plant, I'm glad you brought that back up, because a lot of people some people think that it came from the TNT plant, like through some strange mutation or something.
Oh, TNT plant is his origin. Never heard that.
That's one of the stories I heard. It is around that area that he was first sighted. So, because I believe... So this is where stories begin to get really murky. Because I can't for sure say that Steve and Mary Mallett and Linda Scarberry and Roger Scarberry were what they were doing out there. I believe I read that they were at the TNT plant when they saw something strange and they heard something. And then that's when they got back to the car and left.
So were these like 1960s era urban explorer? Were they kind of doing some urbex or what was? I mean,
I wish I knew.
I can't think of a legit reason in the middle of the night to be at an abandoned TNT place. You know what I mean?
Right.
Supposedly they were on a date.
Well,
double date.
Well, hey, look, Urbex Estate, that's legit, but contaminated former.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. I hope that was the last date because, right. The whole contaminated thing is a problem.
So one of the other things, the opposite side of that is, many people, like some scientists, have come forward and been like, it's probably just a crane. And
okay, the eyes.
Well, there's a specific crane that has red around its eyes. I'm trying to quickly find it.
Right.
It is, one moment.
It's like some kind of sand crane?
Yeah, sandhill crane.
Sandhill, that's it.
Yes.
I mean, they're spooky looking, but I mean, I don't think I'd confuse one with a moth.
Right.
Well,
those pictures, I might confuse one with an emu.
Yeah.
Which is scary on its own.
Well, and honestly, if there were enough mutagens in the environment to create this thing, surely they would have noticed lots of other less dramatic mutations in things.
Well, one of the things that somebody brought up was, what if it was just a very sickly crane who had gotten into some contamination and was suffering from tumors or something, and it looked a little deformed. Was another possible explanation. You know, but it's a good point. Like, you would think that there would, if there was enough mutation to cause Mothman, you'd think there would be, an annihilation scenario where there's just a bunch of crazy.
Right.
Everything
is just askew. You have no more frogs, but you have, Mothman,
I'm not sure what would Frogman turn into?
Ooh.
No, thank you.
Swamp Thing.
Yeah. So, from there, I believe the other one that sticks out in my mind, the other sighting is Germany.
Oh.
Wow.
Yes. So
I've never heard this. Okay, he got to Germany. How in the heck did he get to Germany? I guess he was waiting on his passport.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So, in Germany, there was a mine. I'm trying to remember the name of it, or
I have never heard this one before.
Oh, it's great. Oh, here we go. Okay. So a mine in, I'm going to butcher this, Freiburg, Germany.
Okay.
So supposedly a group of miners were heading back into the mine when they saw a man in a trench coat, okay? As they approach the gentleman, it turns around and they note that it doesn't look completely human. It is, of course, Mothman in a trench coat.
Of course. Or maybe 3 Mothmen in a trench coat.
It's actually just like thousands of moths.
2 beasts in a man suit, so it happens.
Yes. So it supposedly shrieked very loudly, and its shriek is kind of like a mixture of like 50 men screaming all at once together with the sound of, like, the brakes going on something, so very shrieky.
Oh, awful.
Yeah, and then it took off into the sky. The miners basically ran off, but they stayed on the property, and an hour later, the mine collapsed.
Whoa.
Have some kind of, like, supersonic weapon now, and he caused that?
It was something hidden in the trench coat.
Why was he in the trench coat? Was it just really cold that day? But I mean, he didn't have a trench coat in December.
This is one of the scenarios where it's like, if you're talking to a friend about, like, toxic relationships, and it's like, I keep getting into toxic relationships, and it's like, well, maybe the problem's actually the common denominator. You know, maybe it is Mothman causing all these problems.
Right.
Right. I mean,
Mothman's a toxic relationship.
Yes.
I mean, so what you're saying is that the moth is better than a canary with a mind, to let you know that it's... So how many people died then at this mine accident, since they were out of the mine gawking at Mothman in a trench coat?
Let's quickly...
The Mothman flasher.
Did he flash him? Yep.
Yeah. Let me look that up, actually. I don't think...
I mean, did it save anybody?
Yeah. Well, it saved those miners, obviously, that saw... blah, blah, blah. I wonder if nobody died.
Whoa. Mothman's the good guy.
Hey, that would definitely put him in the good guy category.
Yeah. It's just...
I don't know how that... I would not want to be the person who made the report to the police that said, by the way, I saw a giant moth in a trench coat.
Yeah.
Can you imagine?
Oh.
I would just go ahead and say, you know what? I've just lost it. We're just moving on.
Drugs were involved.
Mine disaster or not, I don't know that I would be willing to go to the police and say, I saw a giant moth in a trench coat.
And it screamed at me and flew away.
Yeah, it screamed, yes. A screaming moth. I mean, do moths...
That's a good question.
I have no idea what moth vocal capabilities are.
Yeah.
Maybe. I mean, I don't know.
So
that's...
yeah. No, what were you saying?
I just said that was crazy. I didn't even not know he had made it to Europe, so that's super awesome.
Mm-hmm.
But that he's obviously doing the whole incognito thing.
That's what gets me.
Where in the world is Mothman?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, we're missing a few.
Can we get him a big hat?
Yes, yes.
Oh, I would.
Oh
love
my
that.
God.
Please. Yes, he can start his own series.
And speaking of people who you probably don't want to be remembered in association with Mothman, I do remember a story where he was seen, and I can't say if this is at night or not, and I believe it was in the US, that a woman was carrying her infant, and I think she was like going out to her car from visiting a friend or something, and the Mothman kind of just appeared. She runs into him while going out to her car holding the baby. And she gets so frightened, she literally drops her baby and runs. What?
Girl, no. What?
And I'm just like, can you imagine being your one claim to fame is that I was so scared I tried to feed my infant to the Mothman?
Wow.
You know,
The baby was okay in the end, but...
That's still a better reaction than... You know when you get scared sometimes and you're holding something and you throw it? Can you imagine if she just threw it at Mothman and just smacked Mothman in the face?
It was like, can you just imagine? I just can't imagine you would ever live that down. Especially when somebody told the kid, because somebody's gonna tell the kid later on. Like, you tried to feed me to the Mothman. I mean, I know I'm still bitter about the whole mom trying to feed me to a mountain lion. And
you were an adult.
Oh my god.
So, I cannot imagine being like, oh no, you do not get to tell me what to do. You tried to feed me to a monster.
Well, we all make mistakes, and sometimes.
I mean, no parent is perfect, but most don't throw their children at monsters.
It takes special people.
I'm going to hope that she discovered after that incident that maybe motherhood was not for her.
It's just hilarious to me that it's like the instinct wasn't, oh no, I must protect my child. The instinct was, fuck
Drop
you,
the child.
drop the child and run.
Exactly. You'll only hold me back. Bye.
I can have more. Yeah.
So
everybody's reactions to it are quite different.
Yes. So there was one other Mothman sighting that was of note to me that had disaster attached to it. And this was Fukushima, Japan.
No way!
Yes. So allegedly, the thing is, there's two versions of this story I've heard, so it's very hard for me to. Which one do I tell? Okay.
I say both.
There's one. Okay. There's one version where a group of I don't know if they were environmentalists or if they worked for the nuclear power plant, were out walking around near the area of it, taking radiation measurements in the area.
Okay.
In the other story, it's I think two friends who are out in the middle of the night, and as they're walking.
Wait, so they were taking radiation measurements in the middle of the night?
They were, yes. In both cases, in the middle of the night, of course.
Why is it all these shady people that keep seeing him?
Right. I don't know.
I mean,
yeah, if you see him, keep your mouth shut. You don't want to join this club.
Oh, no, I mean, you really kind of have to start questioning. So, they're taking radiation level measurements in the middle of the night, totally legit and above board.
Yes. And I believe they look over at... Now, this is very cinematic. Imagine this. You look over at the power plant, and on the top of one of the buildings is a silhouette that's silhouetted by the moon. In both stories.
He's not wearing his trench coat this time?
No. Nudity is in, trench coat is out.
Okay, cool.
So...
I'm more for it, the natural look.
Very chic, yeah. So, I believe Mothman takes off into the sky and begins, diving at these people, and they start, panicking, and it starts shrieking again. And basically...
So that's become part of the lore, is the shriek.
Yeah, and I don't know where it started. I don't know if it started with the Germany thing, the mine. But basically, as soon as it appeared, it was gone. And then a few days later, the earthquake happened and occurred where it had a meltdown.
Right, that was nasty.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
Now, did they report that? Did they report their sighting before or after the meltdown?
That's a great question. In this case, I don't know, but in most cases, the reports always came after the tragedy occurred.
Okay. Yeah, seems likely.
There's this one's very vague. I don't really remember much. I think it was was it Milwaukee? There's a highway or a bridge or something that collapsed. I can't remember.
Oh, another one?
Yeah, but I can't remember where it was. But there was a collapse, and basically after that, people came forward saying hey, I saw Mothman flying near the highway/bridge leading up to this event. But it's always after the event occurs that the sightings begin to come in.
He works
That's 100% suspect. But I did just say I would not be the one to go to the police and say I saw this.
Yeah.
That's true.
So, barring the accident to be able to say, looky, I saw this right before. Yeah, I don't think that I would have been going, oh, by the way, because, I got a job. I can't spend, 72 hours at the hospital.
Yeah.
So, I think the most recent sightings, I believe, of Mothman have been in Chicago.
Oh,
There's all this
Chicago.
stuff happening
We were
there,
just
but
there.
Yeah, there's a whole, there's an NPR article about it. It's great. I recommend it. It's called The Case of the Chicago Mothman. And it started, I believe, in 2011 when reports started coming in of a human-like winged creature flying around the skies of Chicago. And they peaked in 2017, but have since continued, the last one, I believe, being 2019.
That recently?
Yes. Though, to my knowledge, no
things happen.
no tragedy has occurred in Chicago specifically yet.
Not that I can think of.
Yeah, I can't think of anything.
Yeah. So.
I mean, surely we'd remember if something huge had happened in Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
At least that recently.
Yeah, one of the accounts was a gentleman stepped out of a bar.
Oh, really? A bar? Imagine that.
Looked up and saw a plane, but below it, kind of trailing it, saw a strange, dark figure flying underneath it, moving very strangely. Other
I'm telling you, he works for the NTSB. He is into transportation in a big way.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Mines and transportation.
Yeah. Other people.
I believe we need to talk to Pete Buttigieg.
Yes.
Other people reported that when they saw Mothman flying, he didn't flap his wings much.
Oh.
Which would suggest...
So he's levitating. He's not flying.
Which, that's why I love Mothman. It's like, the longer the myth exists, the more messed up and warped it becomes.
The weirder it gets, yeah. We went from a big bug chasing a car to something that is cognizant enough of itself that it can wear a trench coat and now screams, and really it just more levitates rather than flying the wings of the show.
Yes. Like, we have gone through, environmental mutations to, traveling the world. Like, are there multiple Mothmen? Are there moth women?
Maybe, so it's like...
Ooh, true.
Are there non-binary moth people? Where...
That's true. We are saying Mothman.
Yeah, what is Mothman culture?
That would make an excellent dissertation.
Yes, it would. It would be fascinating. I don't know.
So we've got sightings in all the way from the 60s to 2019.
So Mothman's got some age going on him.
Mm-hmm.
So the lifespan, if it is one creature, is at least human length.
Yeah, I wonder if there's been any of these cases, if there's ever been reportings of multiple Mothmen or moth people
at the same time.
Yeah.
Very interesting. I love that he's been in Europe because, at least he's well traveled.
Yeah, and there's been other accounts that I just haven't covered because it's just so much over the years. Point Pleasant at this point has a large chrome statue of Mothman, and they do a festival every year.
Oh, there's a festival!
There is, yes, and there's a museum as well.
Okay, I might have to go to West Virginia because I also love the Flatwoods Monster. I mean, it's only 2 hours apart. See, and I actually on Discord I sent you guys 2 pictures of the Mothman and the Flatwoods Monster, and so you guys should go check that pictures out. See, they're about the same height. They're both black and blobby with red glowing eyes. They both sort of fly.
Fascinating. I've never made that connection. I've seen that thing before.
I haven't either.
I can't find where you sent that on Discord. I'll have to find it later.
Oh, it's in the general. Same thing that we're in.
General? Oh, okay. Found it.
Yeah, because the Flatwoods, I actually found this through work, because a lot of times when I get a new project in a new city, we work in cities all over the country, I'll just do a quick look up and say, like, what is it known for?
Yeah.
And this is the only time I've completely hit the jackpot. Flatwoods, West Virginia. What is it known for? It's known for the Flatwoods monster.
Yes.
And that pops up.
And for the listeners, this rendition of the Flatwood monster it looks like it's wearing a metal skirt that separates it from its upper half by strange ribbing.
Like coils.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know what that's about. Most people describe it as saying that it looked like it has a full skirt, and it had these sort of bony finger things and the big eyes, and it shrieked.
And its head is kind of like a leaf.
Yeah, and it shrieked. I mean, I guess maybe we could do a Flatwoods monster episode, so maybe I shouldn't say too much, but...
Yeah, we totally could.
Fascinating.
Yeah, but there's a lot of similarity, especially once you add the shrieking to the Mothman.
Oh, yeah. Now, looking at this and looking at Mothman, it's...
I mean, without the big fluffy stuff around the head, we're looking at about the same height, same width.
Mm-hmm.
Are we looking at the same species? Is this one we're talking about? Is this male and female? Is this...
Right, exactly.
The same thing?
What exists out there, Mothman? We want to know.
Exactly, and is it related to the
Flatwoods described Mothman?
Yeah, Point Pleasant being so close to Ohio, for some reason I always associate it as if it is Ohio. I always forget that it's actually West Virginia.
Yeah.
And, I did not make that connection. But yeah, just head basically 2 hours east and you're in Flatwoods. I mean, if he can get to Germany...
Yeah, you can absolutely get to Flatwoods.
So, something else I can throw in just to make things more interesting and confusing.
Oh, okay.
The dude that did the Mothman Prophecies, which is a book,
yes,
and the movie.
Oh, okay, yeah.
They threw in some interesting things into the mix, which have been disputed as being false by others. But they threw in somebody named Indrid Cold into their book and movie. Now, I've never read the book. My other friend who is a Mothman person has. But Indrid Cold is basically this other entity that coincided with Mothman, and I believe in the book and the movie they kind of work together. They're known as the Smiling Man.
And
I
missed this. I've seen the movie, but it's been a while.
In the movie, I've only seen it once, like many years ago. But
many years ago.
They cold call people, and basically told them that they're gonna die soon. And in the movie, all the people that Indrid Cold contacted ended up being the people that died in the bridge collapse. And that's in the book as well, I believe. So it's just fascinating, over time UFOs and aliens and all of these things were kind of mixed in together. At this point, I think people at Point Pleasant, if you pay them enough, they'll tell you anything about Mothman. Is what it seems like.
Yes, it's just become their thing.
Yeah.
Because I've caught interviews of, as old as just a few years ago, and it's like, yeah, there was a UFO and this and that. It's like, okay, Grandma, it's time to lay down now.
Exactly. You forgot your meds this morning.
Well, now,
Okay, I'm
Anne.
not the only one to make a connection between Flatwoods Monster and Mothman. The Wikipedia page where I got those photos, they do have a C also, and one of the things they have is Flatwoods Monster. So, there may be information out there. I'm so sorry the dog's barking. Okay.
Did I lose you?
Nope, I thought he quit, and he didn't. So, I'm glad to know that somebody else thought of this. They do look similar. And so, but the alien thing, that definitely is Flatwoods Monster. So, is he an alien? Is he the bad guy? Is he the good guy? I mean, it looks like people definitely have landed on the side of the good guy since, Fukushima and that mine collapse. These are all things where clearly he did not do the thing. I mean, you can't say Mothman created the problem at Fukushima. That was an earthquake. There's no way that anything but the earthquake did that.
Unless Mothman has a oil facility that's
There you go. He created the earthquake that created the monster. So he's getting stronger is what I'm hearing.
Mothman runs a very tough business, and Mothman Enterprises are just continuing to expand over the years.
You're rebranding over time, and yep.
Oh, actually, he may be running some kind of protection racket like the mob. So if you don't do something, then he causes this. So when was Fukushima? That was 2011. Okay.
Been a while, yeah.
Well, I guess everybody else has been paying Mothman dues because we haven't had that.
But that's the same year that the Mothman started getting sighted in Chicago.
Oh, so something big is coming in Chicago.
Yeah, he's been seen up in 2019. Maybe he probably had to take the pandemic off too.
Social distancing and all.
Yeah.
Unless, that's what Mothman was trying to tell us. But I don't know if Chicago specifically, you would think everywhere, just like a Mothman plague.
Right. He'd have to show up all over the place.
And Chicago really handled it quite well. When we were there in February, their numbers and compliance were very high. So their infection rates were much lower than Arkansas.
I can imagine.
And compliance with mask mandates and stuff was very high in that city. So I don't think that would have been the place for Mothman to say, oops, we've got a problem.
Yeah. Well, as we continue to listen to all these new stories that come forward, hopefully one day we will be able to help Mothman gain a big floppy hat.
There we go.
Start a Mothman miniseries where in the world
the whole thing
is Mothman.
Kind of like a Flat Stanley who travels all over the world. We can have an Instagram for him.
Yes.
There you go. Get that passport.
Now, Anne, didn't your friend in Connecticut have a weird Mothman-ish sighting?
Oh no, that was not a Mothman. That was more of a Wendigo or a Skinwalker.
Oh, okay.
Different department.
Yeah, it was not Mothman-y. It was definitely scary. And I did actually try to feed her dog to it.
Oh no.
Well, not really, but.
What were we talking about earlier about the person that threw the baby? Well, she was
telling me the story about this terrifying thing. I can't. Well, I guess I can tell the story. But we were driving. She lives in basically a national forest. A lot of her area is right there around where she's at, and we were driving back from town. And so there's no street lights or anything like that. And she says, yeah, by the way, she and her older son had been driving there. I can't remember how much before that at this point. They've been driving down that same road, and something crossed the road in front of them really fast. It was bipedal, 7 or 8 feet tall, antlers. It definitely, like that picture of the skinwalker or the Wendigo that's so popular with the scary deer head antlers thing.
Mm-hmm.
Tall. Yeah, it ran across the road really fast. And they were just real quiet for a minute, and then finally she's like, did you see? And he's like, uh-huh. Don't want to talk about it. They both saw it, and they both saw the exact same thing. So we're driving home, and she takes me to the house, and then we'd been getting a bunch of stuff. She's like, oh yeah, can you just run out to the car to go get the rest of the stuff in from the back? And I'm like, I'm taking the dogs! Because I'm not going out there alone after you told me that story.
Oh.
Yep. Everybody made it back in the house just fine.
No dogs were harmed in the making of this tale.
They were not. They were both, one was a Chiweenie and the other was sort of a Dachshund mix too. So they were brave little doggies. So.
Yes,
Yep.
I hope to one day return with a Mothman update, hopefully a personal experience.
Oh, you're going to admit to meeting
I didn't realize.
I just said, oh my gosh, he would admit to meeting Mothman?
Oh,
Wow,
yeah.
I didn't know that he was still being seen so as recently as 2019, so that means that we maybe need to be keeping a lookout, like set a Google alert or something for Mothman sightings.
Yeah.
Right.
I had no idea. I thought that had all ended in like the 70s.
Yeah, we'll just have to keep our eyes to the sky.
Yes. Look behind you when you're driving down dark roads.
Always a good idea.
Maybe it was a Mothman those people saw out by. Not a horse. Maybe it was a Mothman.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, red eyes.
Yep. There was no shrieking, though.
Oh, yeah, no shrieking.
No, it didn't shriek at the beginning.
No, that seems to be a European trait, the shrieking.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
As it moved east, it developed vocal cords. I don't like that particular development. That is creepy.
Yeah. It's kind of like Shin Godzilla that like morphs itself over time.
Oh my God.
It does.
New
Know
physical
enough about Godzilla.
Yes, the Shin Godzilla in particular. Regular Godzilla, no. But the Shin version, he starts out as this kind of sea sluggy thing and develops into the Godzilla that we all know.
What
like
a
he
great
morphed.
topic.
Yeah.
We have gone on very amazing tangents. All thanks to Mothman.
Yes, and apparently we need to be, thanking West Virginia for giving us monsters like the Flatwoods Monster and Mothman.
Apparently,
That's
yeah.
true.
We've been underestimating the state.
Yeah. All praise Mothman.
Right.
All praise Mothman. I'm not getting on his bad side. Or their bad side. We don't want to misgender.
No.
I'm very
not getting
fascinated.
on their bad side.
Yeah. Just very fascinated in like Mothman civilization.
What's the motivation for warning us about these disasters?
I mean, since nobody makes the connection until after.
Right. Nobody stops them.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point. Like, whatever Mothman is, why is it their duty to warn humans of impending doom?
Right. Especially if mutagens that we left there are the cause of their tortured existence.
Correct, yeah. No idea.
What will happen if we actually do take the warning seriously and somehow avert a disaster? Will this...
Is that going to be good or bad?
It'll be like recognizing and acknowledging a brownie? It'll just leave?
Oh, maybe.
Oh, well, now we're going to get into the fairies.
And we could talk about de Morvoy and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Do you thank them? Do you feed them? Mothman is Fae.
Hey,
He is a Fae creature. Make no deals with Mothman.
yeah. Exactly.
That's probably just good for anything, people included.
Yeah. Yep. I would agree
Yeah.
100% with that.
Yeah, just nope. Deals are just off the table, period.
That's true. So maybe nobody should respond to any of his warnings, because maybe that would be the same as making a deal.
Then nobody responds and then these things happen. So
True.
if you saw him hovering over, say, you know, A&O over there down in London, then would you... how would you feel if it then blew up?
True.
What would you do in that situation? Like, if you did take the warning seriously, you wouldn't know necessarily what was going to happen.
Right, nobody who could do anything would believe you anyway.
It
Yeah.
would definitely have to be an anonymous phone call from a payphone.
Yes.
Yeah,
With your
because
cell
those always
phone
get acted
turned
on.
off.
Very Indrid
Okay.
cold.
Yeah, because I mean, you definitely don't want to be the person who calls the sheriff's office and says, "Hey, just saw Mothman over A&O. Something really bad's going to happen," because they're going to investigate you. So definitely,
Yeah,
have to
you
find
are
out
first on the
one
list.
payphone left in Dover. Turn off your own cell phone and walk there. and wear a balaclava. Make sure nobody can recognize you.
And have an alibi 30 minutes to the west.
Yep.
Love that.
We said we have a plan, right? I don't think there's anything around here we need to worry about Mothman showing up for, right? Now up in St. Louis.
Well, now we have the big bridge down heading south.
Yeah. True.
Like one of the biggest bridges in the region.
But it's not heavily trafficked.
Yeah.
It's a conspiracy theory. Mothman is just warning us about America's failing infrastructure and
Exactly. It's like, why does he work for the NTSB?
Oh my gosh, has anybody seen Mothman near Memphis?
Oh.
That's a good question.
Because that bridge from Arkansas to Memphis, about a year ago? They discovered that it was severely damaged and they had been faking the inspection report.
Mm-hmm. It's in a bad way.
It's over the Mississippi from West Memphis to Memphis, give or take.
I'm quickly researching. I am not seeing anything about Memphis.
What is the name? I think it's the I-40 bridge.
Yeah. Fascinating.
Yeah, so if anybody saw him around there, and then because it was caught.
That's true. So maybe somebody heeded his warning.
It was May of 2021 when it was discovered, so I was right. It was about a year ago. But yeah, I mean, a major girder is broken.
Wow.
I can send you a link to that one, but since he likes bridges, why did he neglect that one?
Too busy in Chicago.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true. Yeah, it's,
maybe he's reading like
Nostradamus
Nostradamus prophecy, so he's not always right.
Maybe. I mean, that's why we just need to get Mothman in miniseries.
Mm-hmm.
Or
a reality show, keeping up with Mothman.
Yeah, a reality show. Yeah, where Mothman just goes around pointing out, our failing infrastructure.
Yeah.
Like, you guys need to get a different place to inspect this.
Wearing a little hard hat, flying along the bridges. Like, oh yeah, you see that?
Yes, that she likes coats.
That's a code 069 there. You have to.
Yeah, I sent you a link. You can see a picture of how damaged the bridge is, and they had just been passing it for years.
Oh my god, so good.
Oh yeah.
Well, we will have to just honor Mothman.
Yes. Yes.
So maybe he did. Maybe he went and told somebody. That's why they found it this year, or that year.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I don't actually know how they found it, to be honest. I don't remember. I don't remember how it was actually discovered, but it's a major flaw, and they actually even closed traffic under the bridge and everything. It's the Mississippi, and they had to close traffic under the bridge. It was that damaged.
Undercover boss.
On the Mississippi itself, they had a block.
Undercover boss.
But Mothman.
Undercover moth.
But Mothman. Sorry. It sounded in my brain.
Oh my goodness.
There you go.
All right, I guess we need to wrap Mothman up.
Yes, this Mothman.
It's getting bad. It's getting bad.
We'll just put him back in his trench coat for now.
But entertaining.
Yes, wrap him back up. All right, we're going to end this one here, but stay tuned. We are going to, in the next month or so, have another episode with Michael.
Yes, lucky you.
All right, peace out.
Bye.
Bye.